Hello and welcome to this episode of the Ranting Atheist podcast. Today, we'll be listening to the recording of one of the clubhouse discussions we had a while back, and that is the Free Thinkers Hangout on Clubhouse. So, if you are not on Clubhouse, please consider joining. Clubhouse is available on iOS and Android now. So join the Free Thinkers Hangouts so we can have various discussions like this. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or where else you get your podcasts. So now, let's go and listen to the recording or discussion we had a while ago.
And it's different things that snap people out of their indoctrination. Different things. Some people it might be logic. Some people it might be just one passage. Some people is at a particular point in time when they are questioning. Like for me, it was COVID. COVID was like, I was like, what the fuck is God doing? Like, and all the pastors were just contradicting each other, jamming their head left and right. So that was when I was not like, something is wrong with this whole Christianity thing. So that's people's mindset are in different places at different times. So that's why what the converted doesn't convert another person. It's plain. So, but straight to the matter, Oyedepo and feminism. Please, who saw that video? I saw it yesterday and my blood was boiling.
Yeah, I did.
I was mad because first of all, I have I don't know if I will call it trauma from that man. I went to his schools and his rhetoric is the same as always. Condescending motherfucking cunt. He says a lot of trash with so much hubris and confidence because he knows we that came to pay school fees can't do shit about it. So hearing him talk about feminism and the way, like, this was total mockery. Like, this was not even, it was just like, the tone of mockery. I was just like, this man is either he likes the controversy or he's seeking about. I'm just confused. What the hell is going on in his head? And that's why when I don't know if we can have a Christian feminism here. And this is a situation of I told you so. Like these are situations when Christianity collides with feminism. These are the things like this, men like this, who have so much pull, so much power, so much influence, and they mock feminism like this, underrating the work. Yes. They are Christians, but they are feminists too. It doesn't invalidate their feminism in any way. But the problem is the misinterpretation, the lack of understanding. So once you just hear feminists, they assume this loud mouths. But hasn't the man? I don't know. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. And when people tell me he's an old man, you can be old and stupid. When there is red and white straight jacket every Sunday, like I don't know who is fashion person that advised to wear that nonsense. But it's pure rubbish. This is the problem of religion and feminism coming together. And I don't know. Please, who wants to ask something? I'm just too irritated.
Yeah. Can I go first? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, so to be honest, I just watched it today. I don't know. I saw, it was on Instablog. I saw it, right? On Instagram. And, I saw him, regular him in his white suit and white pants and I think what I have to say is that, to be honest, he's right. And I'll explain what I mean by he's right. He's right in the sense that you actually cannot be a Christian and claim to be a feminist, because it's like almost claiming to be a civilian and also being a military personnel. It doesn't work together, right? The text, the literature in the holy books, at least in the Bible and the Quran, are framed in such a way that the man is the head and the woman is somewhere down below, right? So that's why it really does amaze me when I see some, or a lot of Christians Christian women come out and,
cognitive dissonance.
cognitive dissonance and live in denial as though, I'm a feminist and this and that, and then they frame it with this, there is power in submission. What exactly do you mean by that? Like, that is the most stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life. There is power in submission to my husband. Now, this is not me trying to come here and say like a woman should, like a wife should, how do I put it? I'm saying these Christian folks, right? And most especially like what Oyedepo is saying, he's just speaking from a point of, I am privileged. Now, this is me speaking. This is me reading his mind. We as Christian men and as Christian husbands are benefits. We are beneficiaries of what this Bible has, laid for us. And we need to protect it at all costs. So anybody coming here with this feminism thing is, speaking trash, speaking garbage. So it really is impossible for you to be a woman and claim to also be a feminist. All you need to do is read your own holy book, your own text. Go from where Paul says, I forbid a woman to speak. And then he gives his reason why, because the first woman that was ever created from a man was deceived. So what that means in turn is that you can't teach us because you are not that, sharp. You are not that sound.
Exactly.
Right? So just the same way the first of your kind brought us down to this mess, right? That's really, really like, I know they like to paint it with this brush of, oh, no, you're not getting the context, you're not this, you're not that, but that is exactly what it means. And do we go back to the Old Testament where you see women that are priced, a woman slave is priced at this amount, but a man slave is priced at this amount, where you see like a boy is actually being, you pay more for buying a boy than you even pay like a woman that is, say, like 10, 15 years older than him. So it just goes to show you that there really is no value, right? There really is no value to women when it comes to feminism in religion at large. And, for in Oyedepo, in this context, in Christianity, most especially. Then I just want to say, like, if we bring Christians in, if we show them that, there are ground rules and we're not just here to bash them, I think it would even help in opening their minds. Like, we could give them that floor to preach. Let them preach for their 3 to 5 minutes. But, throw questions at them, just the same way you walk into a room on Clubhouse where there are guidelines and there is respect and all that. People feel, okay, nobody's pointing guns at me. I can just make my case and let it be. So yeah, that is that on that.
All right. Thanks, bro. Any Christian in the house that would like to, we come in peace. If you are in the audience, please can raise your hand. If you are already a speaker here, you can flash your mic. Any Christians in the house? Okay, since we are all bloody hellfire bound here. Okay, so who wants to go next now? I think we might need to form a queue now. If you want to go next, please flash your mic. Nobody. I know be pastor. Nobody let me go preach for you. Everybody has different angles. Though.
I mean, I could take it if nobody.
Okay.
This is similar to what we were talking about last time we were on Clubhouse. I find it. I will just to agree with the previous speaker, right? Everybody who says that they are Christian and feminists need to go and read their holy book, because not a single one of them, whether you're talking Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, all of them seem to have subjugation of women as part of the point of the religion. Whether it's to control women's sexuality or to control their fertility, they all seem to have that as core to their traditions. I mean, a part of what I think is that it comes from a time when that was normal for everybody to think that, but then the rest of the world has moved on, but religions haven't. Like I said, this is what we were talking about last time we were here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, what else is he going to say? He's going to try and advance his own position. He's going to try and advance his own beliefs, and this is actually what his book says. If we're going to be fair. So yeah, I mean, That's kind of where my head is at this point.
Yeah, that's very true. It's even okay. Lovely. Lovely.
Okay, so my contribution.
All right.
I don't know the connection between feminism and submission. That's one. I don't understand. I don't know why these religious folks would actually think that someone claiming to be a feminist means that the person does not want to submit, if we even want to look at that. Like, I guess they've not actually sat down to just see that what feminism actually means is just seeking equal rights for women and men. Yeah, so what a man can do, a woman should be able to do it too. More like if she wants to. Like, there's also that place of choice. Does she want to do it? Then if she wants to, then there should be an equal playing field for both of them to compete, and whoever is the best wins. So when I heard him speak, and he was like, women should submit to their husbands. I don't know where he got that from. I don't know which version of feminism that said
He
women.
got it from the Bible.
The
It's from the Bible.
problem with that is, as you said, feminism is trying to create equality for men and women. The problem is, according to the Bible, men are not equal to women. Men submit to Christ, then women submit to the husband. So two of us are not on the same level according to the Bible. So feminism is a threat to that ideology of the man being the head and the woman being the subordinate. They don't want to let go of that power. Patriarchy. The church and patriarchy are 5 and 6, side by side. They no go agree. So that is why when feminism comes up, submission is the automatic trigger in the minds of the patriarchs. Lovely, you get?
Yeah, I do. I do.
So,
if you don't mind me asking, Lovely, what's your perspective? Are you Christian? Are you religious? Where are you looking at this from?
I would just say I'm open-minded. Wherever, I wouldn't want to put myself in a box like I'm here or I'm neither here nor there. But I'm tilting more to the open-minded stand, where whatever makes sense, that's what I go for. So I would call I'm irreligious. That's what I would say.
I hear you. From my perspective, it sounds to me like you are starting to realize that a lot of it is nonsense. But then, because of whether there's some sort of emotional connection you still have to the beliefs, that it's difficult to let go. We've all been through that. I've been through that myself, right? So if you are questioning, I would encourage you to continue questioning. I was just curious whether you were looking at this as a Christian or...
I'm done with the question. No, I'm actually done with the questioning phase, more like, but let's say I'm in a society where I cannot just be vocal and say, okay, I am this or I am that. So I just prefer being in the middle, being in the middle ground. I'm neither here nor there, depending on who I'm speaking to. Actually.
Understand.
I understand. Believe me, I understand. Believe me. I mean, half of my family doesn't know what I believe, because they would need to sit down and talk to me for the next 2 hours, and I just don't have attention.
Are you guys serious?
Yes.
I'm not even joking.
They know everything, nobody.
Have you met my mother? Have you met my mother?
Everybody said they different. My parents are pastors, so so there's going to be war the day when that day comes.
There's pastors in my family as well, but
so it makes sense.
Can I add some things?
Yeah.
The truth about it is, religion as a whole has this way of, making sure that everybody is in their place. I mean, all you need to do is look at Ranting Atheist, right? And what you would see is two young guys that I don't want to say they are in hiding. I think that would be a wrong term because
I am hiding. Say it. I'm actually hiding.
I know why I'm saying. No, I know why I use that statement or that sentence.
I understand your reticence, but I am actually hiding.
Yeah. Okay. So the reality is our circumstances and our settings are different, and the truth of the matter is there are some folks that just for the sanity of their loved one or for fear of what their loved one could go through mentally or emotionally, they would rather protect, right? And that in some way, shape or form is the way like religion has this hold on folks, whether you are within or without. Now, take for instance this woman, right? That and this feminism talk that we are having here. Imagine Paul saying something like, again, I forbid a woman to speak. If she has any question, let her go to back home and ask her husband. See, these things that these is just I don't know how Christianity got to this form, but if you read the Bible and you look around you, you would tell that Christianity itself has even evolved.
Yeah.
Right? Because in actual fact, literally, a woman has no business speaking, in fact, making any sound in a church. Has no business whatsoever. And Paul goes as far as saying that, see, if she even has a question in that church, she shouldn't, there's no need for her to ask the pastor there. No, she should go home. When she gets home, she will ask her husband. So there really is it amazes me how women are even the majority in Christianity. All you need to do is walk in any random church. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. Walk.
Are you there?
Can anybody hear me? Sorry, somebody was calling me. Okay. So I bet you all you need to do is walk into any random church. And the vast majority will be women. And they themselves will even be more devout. Much more devout than the men that are, wearing
the thing about mothers, right? If the thing about mothers, and this relates to the reason why I don't want my mother to necessarily know. Even if I don't believe I'm going to hell, I don't want my mother to believe I'm going to hell. Because that will probably bother her more than if she was going. If you see what I mean.
True.
Yes,
I see.
So, I get what you're saying. And I really, how do I put it? I feel bad for, a lot of these women that come out and man, I'm a feminist, I'm also a Christian, and they really, really are Christians, and they really wear this fake feminism badge and think that, they are flying the colors boldly, and you really are just making a mockery of yourself and everything. So I think all I advise any Christian feminist, quote unquote, is just read your text. Don't blind yourself with this shade of context that it's the wrong context. So Paul's time was like this and Paul's time was like that. And no, he didn't mean it that way for Eve. He meant it this way. Just read. Don't let someone else read for you. You read it yourself. So I think that's all I would say.
Well, the thing is that while I agree with you, I think just as you have mentioned, there will be a lot of cherry picking. So they will pick out the parts that, okay, this sounds nice. Then all the abrasive areas, they will ignore. That is how they're able to manage both concepts. But the thing is that if you don't take it in its entirety, you will not realize that these two are negating each other. You cannot be one and the other. Christianity is a misogynistic structure. It is always going to oppress women, and women will read it And it's the same words that we are all looking at, but they will take another meaning to it.
It's true, sir. That's true.
I think it's the upbringing that women have, right from
I don't.
right from when you're a child,
Hold on, sorry.
a woman is raised to be meek. A woman is raised to feel like she is less than a man. So it's difficult to root out that feeling, that thinking, that orientation you've been given. Even as an adult, it's difficult. And then you're now in a society where that is being enforced. Even you're trying to be an adult, you're trying to date. Most of the men you're gonna come across are men who would feel that way. In the office, it's the same thing you get. In the market, it's the same thing. So it's just difficult. So it's sometimes difficult to navigate the world without, somehow just trying to you might try to fight it, but then it's always a constant battle of fighting it, and then realizing that very few people actually do not think this way, and then having to accept that majority actually think this way. So that's the thing. I think that's why you see the women kind of just accept it, because they know that if you're gonna fight it, the people that you have on your side would actually be less. Your association, everything, you just have it. Especially in maybe outside Nigeria, for like talking specifically about Nigeria, you're gonna have very few friends. In fact, you might not even have a partner. So I guess that's why the fear of being lonely, the fear of being secluded, the fear of just being the one person, as not necessarily you'd rather just join the crowd. It's safer that way.
Yeah, that's true. We are social animals, and that thing can work against us when we need to do the right thing at times. So I saw Kamar, you were flashing.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I was going to talk about the role of patriarchy in our normal system, and especially it's even all around the world, not only Africa, but a lot of the world have risen above that level, because I can remember reading some history or seeing some historical movies, and I see the way white people too used to treat their women, but of course they've risen above that now. So I'm thinking maybe in the nearest in 200 years time, maybe we'll reach that point too, because it's really sad. They're yes, somebody was saying the other time about how women were brought up to be second class citizen to men. I understand it's the patriarchy system which everybody, because usually I tell people that I don't believe in gender roles. People will always be like, yeah, but you are a man now. No, don't tell me I'm a man. I don't, it's not my thing. So because maybe they're expecting me to do something physical or whatever, and I always tend to tell them, but this gender role thing, don't you think it's kind of primitive? It's 2021, we should start thinking better, because all this thing goes a long way. It goes a long way because it makes a lot of women, a lot of younger, a lot of girls to think maybe they can't be as good as men. They can't look for, they can't have a dream, they can't go far the way men would do, and then that can only drag us back.
So like what you said, in 200 years time, but the work has to start now, and the feminists are working on it.
Exactly, that's why people like us are here.
Religion gets into
to talk about it.
We'll get to that point eventually, but we have to work. We know say no, we can't do God will do it. It is well, that kind of bullshit.
That those for people that believe in God now.
So Amino, I think you're ready to talk at the time. Are you there? Okay, wait, let me even do partiality. I think our women that are here. Lily, do you want to contribute? Because we're talking feminism here, and women know more about that than us. Who else? Which other woman? Yeah, Chancey.
Hi.
How you doing?
Fine. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Oh, okay. On the topic of feminism, I think for me personally, I actually came into the realization of what as in feminism really meant by definition on the general level way later. Like I think even maybe by the time I left university, like how do I put it now? So growing up between the way we are raised, because we are three girls and a boy. So my brother is the last. So my parents didn't really what's the word? My parents didn't really try to be like, oh, my brother is better than our brother was better than us, or but sometimes I could notice that there were times when she treated my brother way better than she treated us. That's my mom. I noticed those slight differences and it used to be very annoying. But we used to think that it was because my brother was the last, last born thing. But until my dad had to now tell us that, that she really insisted on having a boy. I was like, ah. So the three of us were not enough, and we're not enough for you, and you really wanted to have a boy. Because even before my brother, she actually miscarried. So which was where my dad was like saying, okay, it's enough, no need for you to have another one. And then you're already having issues with this last one. But she insisted. So my brother came along anyway. So there are those little things, but I just used to think like because my brother was the last. But my mom, I could actually see my mom, I saw my mom as a feminist per se, as in by definition now, because she was a very heady woman. Like I found her to be very strong-willed, pretty stubborn, and opinionated.
Are you there? Or am I the one out?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you too.
Okay, chances sure you try again. Just go in and go out. By the way, Oyedepo slander is allowed here, please. Yes.
The thing is, can you actually blame the man? Because he's actually true to his scripture. It's the people that are following him and saying and trying to pretend like they can't hear what he's saying. The man is staying true to the scripture. What can you say? I mean, you can't blame him, can you?
I have a
I'm not saying that he's a good man, but
I know.
Okay. I think I'm.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so we didn't really. Okay, I can't remember where I was, but anyway, so we didn't really have that much differentiation between that feeling of a boy was better than us or one kind. We just grew like that, but I think we started noticing. I started noticing that difference in how women were being treated in society. By the time I got into uni, when sometimes I'll ask my dad why he doesn't like to hire married women at his place, because he will say that, oh, married women, they have a family, one day they're going to get pregnant. And I'm like, it's part of this thing now. Like, I don't understand. So why do you have to discriminate them like that? I say, but that's it. But when they get married, when they get pregnant, they won't be able to work. So he prefers to hire men in those roles. Like, Then I also noticed that my dad is a lawyer. In the law field, we see a lot of girls in law school.
The network is out. Network is out again. Maybe they are calling her. She's out. Okay. Anyone wants to go again, she'll continue when she comes back. Let me see. John, Alpha.
I'm fine. Good evening.
Good evening.
I just I've just been listening so far. Okay, let me just say some few things. Oyedepo and feminism. I think I saw the tweet that, or the post rather, that inspired the title of the room recently. So I think I would just say he's trying to be consistent with the with what his text is saying. Though there are some Christians that are going to disagree with him. Some people are going to say he's taking it out of context. That passage is talking about one particular time in history and whatever. And the thing is that the thing about Christianity is that, like, or let me say, the thing about the Bible is that the Bible has so many views that are contradictory. Like, you see one part of the Bible supporting this thing, you see another part of the Bible supporting that thing. So what you usually have is that some Christians are going to take one part very, I don't know how I'm going to put it. Like, they are going to take one part to be authoritative over another. So they'll now go to the other one, and they'll now interpret it differently. So that's what happens a lot of times, and that's why you have so many different versions of Christianity, so many misunderstandings and all that, and the whole thing is just messy. So yeah, this Oyedepo and feminism topic is I really don't even know what to say about it, because I know few ladies that claim to be Christians and claim to be feminists, and it's not an argument that I even like to have with them. So that's just what I want to say.
All right, now. Thanks for that, bro. So, Chancey. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Sorry, I think my network is pretty bad.
Hope I know
okay, yes. So, those little differences in how women were treated, and how men were treated. But I never really felt, growing up, I never really felt like men were better than I am, or I just never felt that competition in any way. So, but, with time, you notice certain kind of differences, and sometimes you ignore, sometimes you ask questions. Like, when I used to work at a hospital, I had to attend a training where I was watching over, I was an usher, yeah. So we had a lot of doctors, so the doctor training or consultant training, and there were about 1,000 participants, and there were only 3 women, 3 consultants. Like, I could not forget that day, because it was literally just 3 consultants, just 3. The rest were men. I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, what happened to all the women that were in medical school? Because in medical school, in uni, there's a lot of girls in medicine. There are a lot of girls studying medicine. What happened? What went wrong? So there was always that thing about, when you get married or when you start a family, they have to pause and all that. So, looking at all that, that's when I started to look at there could be something wrong with, that could be something really different with how women are treated and how men are treated, especially in the workspace. So back then, as a Christian, I never really questioned it so much. I think that's a common thing amongst a lot of women that are Christians. I never really questioned it so much. You just accept whatever you were, told, and moved on. But there were so many instances in the Bible that I'll ask some questions, I don't really get answers, or I just, push it to one side. I don't know, somebody was saying pick and choose, cherry picking.
Yeah.
Then, I think one of the very first things in the Bible that I saw that happened to a woman that made me so furious was the story of that concubine. I'll never forget that story. The concubine that was traveling with that. I can't remember. I don't even want to remember this thing. But the one with the Leviticus man, that man that was traveling with his concubine.
Yeah.
And they told him the truth. Oh God. He handed over his concubine to be grave. And the worst thing, and never
Madness.
got her back. Because it was a physical Bible, I flung my Bible across the room with so much vim. I was angry.
Nice.
I was so mad. And it came back, dismembered her into 12 and said, why?
Madness.
I was furious. I was so angry. Like, why? What's this thing doing here? And you ask questions. Like, can you imagine? I had a guy then I said, oh, do you know that it is the number of 12? I said, number of 12 for what?
Hey.
12 for the tribe of Judah. I don't understand. So, I can say, there's a Christ. There's Christ in this thing that just happened now. Are you kidding me? Like, there's Christ in killing somebody and dividing them into 12. There's Christ inside it.
Are you normal?
As in, are you okay? So I think it's all those kind of instances. Then now, I think new modern day pastors now, they are more into the New Testament preaching. They hardly dabble into the Old Testament. They are almost always in the New Testament. Paul is the master of it all. So now in the New Testament, see Paul. Because I remember that time when we read about when we got to that part of when Paul was saying women shouldn't talk in church and all that, I was like, wait though. So if the Bible was really inspired by God and everything, let's say Paul was inspired by God, so you are saying that women now we should not be talking in church. We should just keep quiet and look at everybody. Then when we go back, we should go and ask our father.
This is why we're saying Oyedepo is true to the scripture.
Exactly. So there were churches then, like I think the Anglican Church, they don't have women leaders. The Anglican Church don't used to allow women leaders then. But recently, I think even still, my pastor then before I left was always priding himself with being a pastor that is progressive in allowing women to lead and all that. But I'm like, but the Bible said that women should not even be in a place of leaders. They will not go and pull up Priscilla and Aquila. Priscilla and Aquila, like, see now that they were, or those two ladies they were fighting then, that Paul was telling that they should not be fighting again or something. So they can bring all those little people that we didn't hear much about, to say that, that God did not really ban women from, talking in church. So all these instances and, those instances that could not be explained always makes me wonder how somebody can say that they can be a Christian and still be a feminist. Of course, for me personally, what I understand as feminism or being a feminist.
Got that call.
Yeah, I've got it. Okay, so what I understand as a feminist is that women should have equal opportunities and equal rights in all these places, and to be able to.
Oh wow, this person is persistent.
Function at full capacity without Hello?
Okay, I'm with you.
Hello, am I can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so without all this discrimination that happens in this, it's a very simplistic view for me. So whenever when I came to realize that there's something wrong with being a Christian and being a feminist, it's also one of the things that shows that I can't keep being a Christian and keep claiming that so I can uphold the views of being a feminist, because there's an actual truth. If you're following the Bible, it's actually clear that the Bible and the followers of the Bible do not support a woman having a say in all these kind of gatherings. And again, I think one of the places I have problems with all these Christian feminists is when they come in talking about, on that topic of submission. I have so many issues with that term submission. Like, I don't understand why people are lying. Why are you people working so hard to tell me that submission means power? To give me other definition of submission as I don't understand. Why are you redefining that word? Saying that, oh, no, submission doesn't really mean that you're under anybody. It just means that, you're going to support. That's a different thing entirely. There is what that term means. And that there is a problem with that term. I think there was a room that we were in when we were arguing about feminism. I'm talking about submission. Lots of these Christian feminists came up and kept saying that, submission doesn't really mean to be submissive, that it means that, it means for you to just take a back step and allow the man to lead. And I said, no, there is a dictionary definition. You know what it is. In fact, let us even read dictionary. Let's follow your Bible. If you used to read it very well, let's go to the Greek word for from where that word was translated from. It literally just says it there, that it means somewhere that it's being subjected to somebody's will. So why are you now coining it to be something else? So all those kind of talks, they're always so stressful. So I don't even I don't indulge in those arguments in real life. So whenever somebody says, "Oh, I'm a Christian, I know my place in the world, and I also know my place as I know my place in the world. I know my Father as my Savior to lead me, and I know how I can interact with a man." I say, "Oh, no problem. So, oh, that's your own business. Well done, as in I'm happy for you." So as in that works for you, that's good. So I don't even argue. Let them just do as they please. It's their own life. And I also notice, as in the whole Christian feminism thing, and I feel like they take that part because they know, as in they actually do know and sense that there's a problem if you, as in there could be a problem, especially when trying to marry, especially to marry with being a feminist. So because a lot of men can be very misogynistic, especially Christian men. Christian men at the basal level are very misogynistic, very, very. I think I've had a
They are drowned in it.
as in, like, that's where they are. That's where they come from. They are pulled out from there. They pull it out. So sometimes it might even be chill and I think everything is all right. You just need one occasion, one situation to happen, and boom, it leaks. Like it has been there. So I think I had this guy once. I've only met him physically once, right? I met him physically once, and I think I got his number. Then the second time I spoke to him, Oga was already talking about submission. And now started telling me, "Oh, you seem like a lady that is very independent, ambitious, and is not really into submission." I said, "I don't understand. At least the second time I'm talking, we exchanged name and number. This is the second time. Why are we talking about submission here? I don't understand." They was like, "Hey, yeah, that is very important. That the Bible, the woman has mandated to submit." I said, like, I was just like, I don't understand. This is second talk now, but anyway, no problem. Let me indulge. You say that the man has been, and that's okay now. You that is talking about submission. Let's say that in the actual sense that submitting to somebody is like letting go to allow somebody to rule, right? Are you worthy to be in a position of leadership? Can you actually do something? What have you done that we can say, okay, fine, I can let go of whatever it is I want to chase and settle down, allow you to rule? Say, well, I can pray and fast. Say, fast. I don't roll with anything that is remotely related to pastors. Even when I was a Christian, I do not. That's not my circle at all. I don't want to just say, "Pastor, stop. No need for this conversation to go on further." Because this is just the second time you're already hampering on submission. And this kind of person, the way he was going at it, attacking me being independent. I said, "Okay, fine, why are you chasing me? Why don't you go to the person that is open to the submission? Why me? There's a lady that is open to it that wants to submit. Go to the one that wants to submit. Me, I don't want to submit anything. I'm not submitting any form. Unless you're telling me to submit something to collect grants, I'm game. But if you're telling me to submit based on like because of marriage or partnership or anything, I'm sorry, I can't do that one. To just be going. So it's always so weird to me. I really, really do. I'm always intrigued by Christian feminists, how they, lock and run around all these things in their head and come up with all this explanation for what being this thing a Christian feminist is like. There's actually nothing wrong. I think when people want to be like, "Oh, okay, that's they don't," I think the idea is that they usually used to be like, "Oh, that they can also be housewife or they can also be a housewife." That being a house, they try to argue that, "Oh yeah, let's argue that people that are feminists don't want to be housewife or don't want to stay at home." But that's not what we're saying. There are people that being a housewife is a full-time job. Like, it's a very, very, very tasking job and should actually be paid. It shouldn't even be. I never even realized that it's a full-time. It's such a full-time work that somebody should actually, the person that is doing it should actually be paid to do it. Because imagine having to pay different people for that same service that one person is going to render. And it's so sad that such a position is so looked down upon. So they always think that feminists are looking down on being housewives or staying at home, But it's even still interesting that you want the feminist benefits, But when it's time to now come out to where feminists need to, fight for something, you disappear. So it's giving, okay, all of you be safe now, but when there are benefits, call me and I'll be there. So that kind of thing, vibe. So it's just always so interesting chatting this company, but I really don't like arguing about it because me, I know what I'm doing for myself. We can continue, and that's all. All of us be safe. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you very, very much, Chancey. Really appreciate that. So, let me see now. Bumi has been here for a while, yeah? Bumi?
Yeah, good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, I'd like to say that religion is not as docile as people make it seem. Religion is pretty active. It's beyond it's a relationship with God personally. That's not what it is. It defines interactions. We can see it play out in how we make our quote and unquote democratic laws. So it's beyond just trying to simplify it to your personal relationship with God, because it's not always like that. And also, your religion has also put people at risk of being cut off from their social circle and all that. So it's way beyond that. So if we understand that, we can also understand the fact that the patriarchal system is upholded by religion, and we can see that play out in different societies. So in Pakistan, when we have a human rights body who stood against who propelled the how would I put this? The child marriage. There was a child marriage bill that was passed in Pakistan to oppose child marriage, something like that. So we have that Islamic groups opposed that bill because they said that Muhammad married underage kids, and as such, doing that would be going against Quranic teachings. So they had to fight for child marriage because they felt like Muhammad did it. So religion really, really does affect. And as Rita said yesterday in this group about Oyedepo and feminism, she said, in reality, no one can actually force you to be anything you don't want to be, right? You can be a Christian and a feminist, right? You can be a Christian and a Muslim and a Buddhist. It doesn't matter what you really are. No one can force you to be what you don't want to be. And I feel like every voice counts when it comes to feminism, right? I feel like every voice counts. So that means that we need as much people as we can get. So I don't feel like people who are Christians and feminists are fake. I feel like you understand the rudimentary that women are minorities and oppressed, and you're voicing their solidarity for equal rights, so you can understand. But I feel like in the same vein, they're also upholding, as being religious, they're also upholding patriarchal values and belief system, which contradicts everything that they might be standing for as a feminist. So in such way, it's like we're not really making progress if you cannot sit down and try to face the contradictions in those two ideas or beliefs. Understand? So I feel like instead of running around, let's sit down and say, okay, religion really, really has this, and the Bible actually says this. There's no need to run around. This is what it says, and this is how that is affecting people in reality. So instead of trying hard to merge two different opposite ideologies, we can as well just face the fact that these things are indeed contradictory. And from there, we can have meaningful conversations and we can have progressive conversations. But it still doesn't affect the fact that religious feminists are indeed feminists. Yeah, and I feel like to a larger extent, Oyedepo was just saying exactly what the Bible is saying. Yeah. Of course, we have parts of the Bible that are humane, that are moral. It does not mean that we don't have part of the Bible that supports killings and rape, murder, and so on. So what we need is an absolute system that preserves everyone, every part of the population. So homosexuals, queer people, atheists, and even you yourself as religious people to practice your belief without having to affect other people. So I feel like we need a wholesome system like that. We don't need a system that preaches love, and the second hand says everywhere you see an atheist, kill them down. That's not what we want. So if we can face that religion having these particular contradictions against basic human rights, we can then start to have meaningful conversation about dropping religion and actually going for humanity. Because I saw a tweet the other day that was saying that if we are to take religion away from people, we may need to give them something. And I understand how that may feel, because I know that for some transiting from religion to atheism or agnosticism is always difficult. The questioning, sometimes the depression, sometimes the fact that you're just lost and you don't even know what to do, and the confusion. People go through all of that just to unlearn just a belief system. And you realize that it's not just a belief system, like I just said. It affects people's life individually and collectively as a society. So I feel like it's time we start to have conversations about religion and feminism, about religion and humanity. We have Aisha Yusufu the other day saying that her being homophobic is a religion. She said it right out loud, and she's a human rights activist. So in lots of ways, it's like we are taking a step forward and yet a step backward. So there's this necessity to actually confront these beliefs. So that's just what I want to add for now.
Thank you very much, bro. And
I think Lily had something to say. I'm not sure.
Okay. Go on.
No. I said, I think Lily, I saw her flashing her mic.
Okay. Lily.
I'm not sure.
All right.
What I just want to say is that feminism is all about equal rights. So sometimes I don't understand when people confuse being submissive and being a feminist as the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? Like when I was growing up, I saw the way my mom treated the females, and I saw the way she treated the males. She treated the males like prince, kings, and all that. So while I was growing up, I kind of disliked my brothers, and let me not say I disliked my mom, but like that love is not there, because there was like the way she treated us was different. So now sometimes before I send money to her, I'll be like, before I send money to her, it's going to take me a while. It takes the grace of God to send money to her. It's until I'm satisfied and I've taken care of myself, I've taken care of my child and my husband and him before I can send money to her, because the way she treated me was different. So feminism is just about giving the female child the equal rights the male child has. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah,
sure. We get you.
It's just about equal rights. That's just it. I can't remember what I'm talking about. Okay. That's all I can remember for now.
All right, thank you very much, Lily. Now the problem with that is when you are talking about equality to the oppressor is seen as an attack. That is why whenever the patriarchs hear feminism, they want equal rights, it's an attack on their supremacy. It's automatic. There's no way you will ask an oppressor to be on equal footing and they won't see it as you are trying to take away everything from them. So when Black Lives Matter happens in the US, the racists see it as an attack on them. So that goes the same thing with feminists fighting for equal rights. The misogynists see it as taking away power from them. So that's why it's a fight. It can't be negotiated. Okay, I saw Mazi. Are you there?
Can I?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Mazi, sorry, hold on. Let Bumi to add something. You go after him.
All right. Fine. Okay.
All right, Bumi.
Okay. Thank you. I was going to say that feminism is not entirely about submission, right? So I feel like it's necessary that we demarcate those things, right? So feminism is of course about equal rights, but when we have a system that pushes the notion that women should, because of the virtue of being women, submit. And we know what submission means. It's not like we don't know what submission means. So the embodiment of religion is such that a woman must be lesser than a man in the church, in marriage, even in the society. You understand? There's a point in time in Israel they don't count. I think they don't count women during census. If I'm right, they don't count women during census, just men. So it is deep rooted in the society. Submission being the second one, being the one that listens, just by the virtue of being a woman. It's nothing else. It's not like it's just like racism. You get it? There's no reason for it. You're just black, and because of that, you are subpar. So when we talk about feminism, the embodiment of feminism is not just submission, but of course submission is. I think submission itself defines inequality too. So that means anywhere that we are saying women should submit, instead we are trying to attack that particular notion, because it does not just translate only in the Bible. It translates in the society. We see it in the workplace. We see it when you order Uber as a woman or as a man, the way they talk to you. We see the way they look at women when they achieve stuff. So it's way beyond just written in the pages. It affects life individually and collectively. So it is not just like let's not conflate that feminism is about submission. It's not about submission entirely, but we should understand that everywhere that is seen should be attacked. Something like that.
Yeah, man.
So that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Submission is one of the tools of the patriarchy. So Mazi, you want to go? Okay. After Mazi, Israel, then Michael.
And then I wanted to chime in too.
Okay, all right. So that's after Michael Kweku. So
sorry, I think Aminu was also blinking his mic at some point.
Okay, that means okay. Let me see how. Okay, this is how the list will go now. Mazi, then Aminu, then wait. Eloise. I have to be respectful to our feminists in the house, our women. Eloise, do you want to add anything?
Well, nothing really.
Okay.
You're all speaking my mind anyway.
All right. Nothing to you. All right. So Mazi, Aminu, Israel, Michael, Kweku. Let's go.
Okay, can I speak now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi everyone. Good evening, everyone. Ranting, I greet you, COVID. I hope. So basically, before I go into the whole Oyedepo and feminism bans or whatever, I don't know. Like since I came in, I've been hearing lots of people making contributions about feminism and the place in society, and if Christians are in their right lane being Christians and feminists at the same time. So I just want to just chip in a few things. Okay, first of all, I'm not a feminist, right? And I'm an atheist. I'm not a feminist, and the reason for that is I'm yet to get the whole facts, the whole idea behind the movement and everything. And me not being a feminist doesn't actually mean that I'm against feminism. So just making it clear. So it's like you not being a fan of basketball, but at the same time you're not against basketball. You could have problems with
the rules of the game, the structure of the rules of the game, and stuff like that. But at the same time, it doesn't mean like the core idea of basketball or the game itself, you have a problem with that. So
on that one, can I just quickly ask, can you define so we know don't know what you're talking about?
So you broke up at some point. Can you repeat the question?
Can you just define how you define feminism?
That's the thing. I don't have a definition for it. That's actually what I'm saying. I do not, I'm not a feminist, right? So I'm not the one to define feminism. I've been hearing lots of definitions about it, and I think the thing with language is if, the reason why language exists and the reason why definitions or words exist is so that it can have a meaning and not have another meaning. I mean, you can't bring lots of things into a concept, right? Of course, if you begin to expand language or expand ideas or concepts, right, it begins to lose that expansion, expansivity brings in a whole lot of things. So for now, I'm just indifferent about the movement and stuff like that. But like I said, I'm not against the movement. So, yeah, back to the Oyedepo and feminism stuff. I think someone said earlier, I was listening, someone said Oyedepo was simply just playing by the rules of the game. I mean, he couldn't be anything else other than being Oyedepo. He's within the confines of a particular system that allows him to believe certain things and stuff like that. And of course, the clergyman is a pastor, so he's supposed to talk about these things, right? Or say the things that the system supports and things like that. So in that case, I think, of course, we know Oyedepo is more like a con man, and I have personal issues with him, right? In the case of how he talks about women and stuff like that, yes, he says really derogatory things about women and things like that, but I don't know if really I should blame him about that. Okay, because of course I know other pastors like even what is it called now? Even pastor, what is it called? The Redeemed Christian Church of God pastor. I think he's also I think about a year ago there was one time he was under fire too for saying some really will I say interesting things about women and stuff like that. And of course, I didn't see to lots of women and lots of ladies. So because of that, there were lots of social media, mainstream media bans and all of that. So I think it's just a general thing for most men of God or for most Christians. The other thing I wanted to make clear is I don't think, in my opinion, that if someone is a Christian and a feminist, there is a problem with that, with them. Do you get? I mean, you choose a system, and I think it's even more like, I think it's something like, I don't know if I'm using the right word, commendable or something admirable that you could be a Christian and at the same time you're still fighting for the rights of women, or you're disagreeing with something that goes against what you believe, right? And the last time we had this conversation, I think someone said that if that's the case, that it's better you just move out of that system, right? So you're in a more relaxed atmosphere to believe whatever I want to believe clearly. But then you can't divorce those two ideas. I mean, being a Christian or being a theist is about believing in God. That's the basic tenet of religion, and more so Christianity is believing in God and believing that a maker exists who made the earth, the heavens and everything and gave you life and all of that. That's the basic tenet of Christianity. But then feminism is talking about something entirely different, right? It has nothing to do with spirituality or the existence of a supreme being and all of that. So I think what goes on in their head is they try to conflate these ideas. They believe that these ideas can actually co-function and still retain this, I don't know, wholesomeness, if I should say, right? So as a result of that, if feminism was directly contradicting religion, if feminism was almost a direct opposite of religion in all aspects of religion or spirituality or Christianity, I think it would have been easier to say, okay, why are you in a system that exactly contradicts what you're saying? But since it's one part of an idea that contradicts just one basic thing in religion, right? Of course, you know Christianity is sexist in many utterances and commandments and a lot of things that are right there in the scriptures, as well as the hadiths and the Quran and all of that. There are lots of sexist verses and statements and instructions there. But then it's not what they are really about. They still hold on to the basic belief of that religion. So in that case, I think it's okay. I'll give them credit for that, for retaining that and still fighting for something they believe in. So that's what I want to say about that. Thank you.
Nice take. Appreciate that.
Mazi, I find certain things you said to
I have a question too.
Who is that, Cherry? Okay.
Yeah, I find it not really gel with the entire concept of what about here. Okay, first of all, you say you're looking at it as women. I think you made a point that women can be feminist and Christian. Am I correct?
Yeah, what I said was, I said it's possible. I don't know how comfortable that idea will be for whoever is doing that, but I said it's possible to have both of them. The only thing is you'll be opposing one of them. That's what I mean. So just so we're clear.
You have to understand. That religion stands on contradict the very idea of feminism. You don't not just Christianity, Islam. As someone who's an ex-Muslim, I can tell you very much that these religions do not honestly give feminism any room to breathe. As regards, like, if you want to, let's say you want to make points for feminism in the Abrahamic religions, which I think we all, at least most of us here know. And another thing I'll just point out, this is not directed to you and directed to you, Maz, is that we already know, I think we've all made points here that religion does this, religion doesn't support feminism. I think we all know that. But I think the question we should be asking ourselves is, okay, so what can we as atheists do? Because you have to understand this. For example, my girlfriend today, when I showed her the article, I think it was Ranting Atheist, of course, that posted it on Twitter. I showed it to my girlfriend, and she was pointing out that she didn't know. She was appalled. And I pointed out that there are whole verses in your Bible that say things that directly contradict the very idea that women should be treated with respect. And she didn't know. Because I think we need to remember that most people are not conk Christians or conk Muslims, that they know everything in the Bible. To most of them is whenever things like this come up that they finally ask the question, what? This has been here the entire time. When I showed my girlfriend the verse in the Bible where Paul talked about women not speaking, she was shocked. Most people don't know this. And I'm not saying it's our job to point it out, but I think as people, we have the personal responsibility to, even though I'm not saying to go everywhere like that. Is someone speaking? Okay.
No, I was just listening. Go on, you're done. To what you said. Just go on. I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm not saying we should go to everyone's door and knocking like Jehovah's Witnesses to be giving them, to be talking. But I think to a certain degree, as people, we have kind of like a personal responsibility to speak on these things when they come up. At least the people that are around us. Don't go and tell your family members, but to a certain degree, we do have a personal responsibility. Then on another thing, we also have to remember these pastors, Oyedepo and Adeboye. First of all, these people have Messiah complex or anything, because no one tells them. I'm sure those people have never heard the word no before in a very long time, at least. Because these people are in a point where they are basically worshipped by their congregation. So to them, whatever they say is law. Oyedepo's school, I cannot in my next life go to that place. Because I think, no, in all honesty, that place, if that man was white, and God, he's a Nazi. I'm sorry. To those of you who have a soft spot for him in this way, the man thinks he's the living embodiment of living embodiment of God. They genuinely believe that I think it's a point where they've lied so much, the point where they believe their own lies. It's why when they say these things, they honestly believe it themselves. They believe their own lies. So I think it's, again, back to personal responsibility. I think we have the personal responsibility to a certain degree to not yell it everywhere like Jehovah's Witnesses, but to put it in people's minds. Because I think today when I told my girlfriend, I showed my woman the things that were in the Bible, I could see a crack in the armor for the very first time. She didn't know these things were there. To her, she thinks, okay, religion is just belief in God, blah, 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 blah. Maybe to send the gates. But there are some very, very fundamental things that give this religion, with the very idea of submission is built into religion, especially the Abrahamic ones, because those are the ones I can speak for. As someone who's ex-Muslim, my sister grew up the way she did, being told to live her life a certain way. Lucky for her, she became her own person. She's currently her own person. I can tell you that there is the low self-esteem issues I saw her go through because of religion. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, honestly. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. If anyone has anything to contribute my points, please, I'd like to hear.
Yeah, sorry. Very briefly, sorry. Yeah. Very briefly, I was going to respond to what you said. I think I got what you said about David Oyedepo and Pastor Adeboye and everything. I was actually trying to remember his name when I made mention of his church. But then the thing is, I still have a very strong counter opinion to what you said about it being my responsibility to try to deconvert people or win people over from.
I'm not saying
win people over from their religious perspective down to atheism and everything. I think I'm just being an atheist. I mean, atheism is simply lack of belief in the supernatural or in a god or something. And then there's another different idea of feminism and stuff. And recently, honestly, I'm going to tell you the truth, I haven't really been very active with the whole atheism movement and everything. And the reason is because, honestly, I'm really getting weary of having debates or arguments or reading the scriptures and trying to point out things.
Is atheism a movement?
Feminism is a movement. Feminism is a movement.
I have a question.
Hold on. Let's Mazio, wrap up.
Okay, so yeah, I just responded quickly to what, I don't know if it's Gubi or Jubi said, yeah. So maybe I used the word wrongly, but I was referring to feminism being a movement, but atheism is actually not a movement. It's just lack of belief. Yeah, so back to what I was saying earlier. I said, I was getting pretty weary of having conversations and really strong debates and stuff like that. Maybe that could be something, I don't know. I don't know if you could call that laziness or whatever.
Nah.
And then the second part of it comes to the fact that I don't know, it's when I think about last 2 years or thereabouts, or last 3 years, when I used to be very active, I used to hold debates a lot, talk about these things, even on Facebook, on social media and stuff like that. And then I realized that at some point things started getting out of hand. People sent me DMs, direct threats on Facebook, someone actually threatened to locate me and kill me. Wow. He was you live in Lagos, right? Don't worry, I'm coming after you and stuff. That was the craziest moment I've actually had since I became actively an atheist and stuff. So at some point I was just let's just choose one thing. So believe whatever I want to believe. And then the only point where I mention things that contradicts people's opinion as regards religion or Christianity is because people really say stupid things, and sometimes I can't just keep it. I'm just did you really say this thing? And then before you know it, it evolves into a debate or something like that. And then so it's just coincidentally, but then me actively and very deliberately coming out and say, okay, I want to do this. I want to point out to people that this or your Bible is saying. I mean, you go to church. If you can't support those things in your church, it's not my responsibility to carry the Bible and spoil it out for you. It's as simple as that. So I don't think I still am going to do what you're saying, or I feel it lies in my place to do what you're asking me, requesting me to do. Right?
Yeah. So the whole atheism thing, it's your choice. This is the beauty of being free. There's no Great Commission bullshit. It's, if you want to do it, you do it. If you don't feel like, lean back, live your life, enjoy life. You are free to do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt anybody. So questioning people when you like, keeping your belief and laugh at them in your mind, it's your choice. Do what you like. So it's those of us that do it, mostly we do it out of, we are angry. Some of us are in an angry phase, like me now. Some of us do it out of empathy. Some people see that there's a need to educate people. So people come into the whole atheist activism for different reasons. And you can decide to just sit back and watch, fold your hands, and nobody expects anything from you. You are free. This is the beauty of being an atheist. You are free from such obligations. Totally free. So you understand? So it is what it is. Wait, Cherry, you wanted to ask a question is it to Mazi?
Yes, to Mazi.
Okay, quickly, then we'll move to Israel. Israel, sorry.
Okay, good evening, everyone. To the mod, please add me to the list.
Okay.
And my question to Mazi, first of all, you started by saying something about I'm an atheist and I'm not a feminist, and I don't know what feminism is. I think some people have given their definition, blah, 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 and then you likened your argument on basketball that you can eat, like you can just be something about you don't like basketball, but doesn't mean that you're against the movement of basketball.
No, I said, let me get actually before you continue your question. I said, I'm not against basketball, but that doesn't mean I'm comfortable with all the rules, right? But the game itself, I don't have a problem with that. So just so we're clear, so we can continue. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. That's the rule of my argument now. You said something about, you called yourself an atheist. Why didn't you say something like, I don't believe in religion, or say something about, I don't think there is God, or I'm just free. You labeled your problem. You labeled yourself. And the reason why I'm saying this is because one of my favorite Nigerian author, God bless her, Bushi Emecheta, she during her time on earth, so she was asked, because she raised her children alone and all that, and she wrote books that are talking about the promotion of the feminist idea and all that. And so people asked her, I think once she was questioned, are you a feminist? And she said, no, I just I support women's rights. But that's the old thing. That's the old idea of feminism, because at that time, people push back at that tag, feminist. It means something like you're mean, you're a terrorist, you hate men, or all those things. So simply, I will tell you the idea of feminism. Do you believe in the equality of both sexes? Then if you believe, then it means you are a feminist. It's not I believe on some of it. The baseline there is, do you believe in feminism? Just like you call yourself an atheist. There are people that believe, that call themselves atheists, and they will say, let's kill the Christians. I know you won't support that, but you are an atheist, and there are some of your fellow atheists that will say, let's go and kill Christians. That's their own atheist belief. So the thing is, I have noticed time without numbers that people.
Sorry, I don't think I've ever heard of any atheist trying to kill any religious person.
Just relax.
Anybody
just let him land. Let him land.
I didn't say, please mute your mic. I didn't say that atheists want to go and kill other people. You get? Just like people will say Boko Haram is Islam is the religion of peace, but we have Boko Haram killing people because they believe. So I'm just saying. So the whole idea of when we are in this room, people always push back at that tag, especially men, and they'll say, I don't believe in the whole idea. The simple idea there is, do you believe in the equality of the sexes? Do you believe that if a man...
Am I supposed to respond to this question?
Yeah, it's a question.
Are you asking me to respond to the question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is my answer to that question. I think it's one of the conundrums I feel we have in the whole, or they have in the whole feminist idea, because it's what makes me confused. Like, what exactly are you trying to say, or what are you pushing for? And there are two forms of equality. Basically, there is equality of opportunity, and there is equality of outcome. Equality of outcome is basically called equity, right? And if you're asking me which of the qualities I believe in equality of opportunity, but equality of outcome is an appalling sociological doctrine, honestly. And I think it comes from postmodern neo-Marxist movement, which of course I have a very big problem with. So if you're asking me which of the quality do you believe in, I believe in equality of opportunity, but not equality of outcome. So let's just be clear about that. Thank you.
Just very quickly, right? There is also an aspect of feminism where some men, for example, might expect their wife to kneel down when they get in the house. Right? I mean, that has nothing to do with equality of outcome or of opportunity. This is interpersonal relationships. And there are people who believe quite literally that women are of a lower class than them and need to bow their head and show them respect. That is the kind of thing that I think people are talking about. Do you believe that there's any situation where women have to defer to men and show them respect, for example?
Yeah, that's the thing, because right now we're talking about people who believe in equality of opportunity and people who are just stupid and who expect their women to bow down to them. That's stupidity. And if all of these things together, if you just string up like different scenarios and different life problems together, and then you put it together and say, this is the term, this is femininity, then we have a problem with really understanding what you're talking about. So if you're conflating natural, normal, basic stupidity that anybody can be with the movement of let's give women equal right, then I really can't just get into that singular belief system and say I'm part of it, right? So I can't be part of the movement that is not clearly defined and that have different definitions. Do you understand? So that's why I made.
All right, let me tell you what I'm hearing. Let me tell you what I'm hearing. Now you can
hold on. Let's okay. Sorry, I think this will keep going in a loop now. We'll keep going in a loop. So I think we'll need to move on. Mazi has said he's not fully in. We understand that people are, how do I put it now? There's still more information people need to go and research for themselves. But now the next person is Israel. But Israel, you will go next. I have to, how do I put it now? I am partial towards feminists because we are men talking about feminism, which is weird, but we shall talk. So Moge, are you ready? Moge, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm here. Okay, so I can't remember who said it because I wasn't really staring on my screen, so I wasn't able to tell who was talking. But a guy came up on stage and said he's an atheist but not a feminist. I actually think that is fine, to be honest, because I feel like a lot of people associate all these kind of things when it comes to atheism. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath because I ran to pick up my phone. So yeah, so I think a lot of people associate different kind of things when it comes to atheism. That atheists are, supposedly intelligent. Atheists are, I don't know. When it comes to they are very good at critical thinking and stuff like that. But I grew up in Germany where a lot of the people that I met are actually atheists, especially the young people. And let me tell you, there are atheists who are misogynist, there are atheists who are, sexist, who are homophobic, who are dumb as fuck. So I think that is okay. I don't think those two necessarily contradict with each other. What I didn't really understand is the guy saying he believed in feminism but isn't a feminist. That was very contradictory. That didn't really make sense. As for as in sense to me, I don't mean to attack anyone here. So as for Oyedepo and feminism, sometimes I actually feel bad for Christian feminists because I feel like they hold on to their beliefs and therefore try to interpret their way out of the obvious sexist things in the Bible. At least when we're talking about Christianity, there are also feminists who are Muslims and stuff like that. But I'm going to focus on Christianity because that is the religion I'm mostly familiar with. So I feel like a lot of them want to interpret their ways out of the obvious sexist things in the Bible. And what I've noticed is a lot of them will come up on stage, at least on Clubhouse, and, say things like, I do not like Paul was sexist and things like that. But Paul wasn't the only one who was sexist. I feel like every man in the Bible was sexist, which is not really surprising considering the time in which the Bible was written. And I feel like whenever things like this are being talked about, they want to, portray it in a kind of way that, it wasn't God, at least based on the few interpretations that I've heard, it wasn't God who said those things. It was, men like Paul who said all the sexist things. But I think if we as atheists can all agree that religion is a man-made concept, I think it shouldn't be. I think it's very easy to understand that God didn't come down to this earth to write the Bible himself. It was men who wrote the Bible, and these men were very sexist, which is not surprising considering the kind of time they lived in. Our society has always been a patriarchal one. Things just started changing. I mean, it's still very much a patriarchal society, but considering the fact that feminism is just a very recent movement in human history, I think I'm not really surprised by all the religious books being sexist. I don't think Oyedepo actually said something wrong. You just quoted what was in the Bible. He said something based on the Bible, which is correct. I think this is just a situation of Christian feminists trying to interpret their ways out of, sexist statements because they are holding on to their beliefs and still, have this, they still consider themselves feminists, and therefore, they try to, I don't know. I actually wanted to say something else as well, but kind of skipped my mind. Maybe if I remember later, okay. But that's it for now.
All right. Thank you, Mogi. Thank you very much for that. Israel, are you in the house? Okay, Israel, no deal. Michael.
Hey.
Michael.
Hey, guys. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi, day. Ranting. Good evening, guys. I hope y'all can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I do not get is how religious people, or Christians in particular, can wake up and say they are feminists. I don't get how a religious person can say they are.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
I think I have a problem with my network. Yeah. Okay, so I was saying I don't get how Christians can say they are feminists. I really do not get.
Network. Okay, Kweku. I think you should go before Michael comes. He will sort his network.
Sure, I can do that. Well, okay, so I did hear all the conversation and the argument back and forth. I'm very impressed with the Moge's argument because it sums up the whole issue here. So I would like to begin by defining what atheism is to me, because I feel like that is part of the whole argument here, and a lot of confusion is coming through this with this non-definition going on here.
Right.
So I think atheism is just belief, right? Now, it's just belief in a God. Now, anything else has nothing to do with atheism. Now, so somebody can be an atheist and still not be with a feminist, right? So just because somebody doesn't have a particular belief, which is atheism, which is belief in a God, does not mean that person cannot be anything else.
Hold on.
Now,
I'm confused. Your definition seems, or did I hear where you say atheism is belief in a God?
Yes. No, sorry. I mean, atheism is non-belief in a God, which is like the opposite of theism, which is a belief in a God. And that is the only thing it addresses, belief in a God. And so you can be an atheist and still hold, contradictory views to the overall theme of the atheism movement, if that's a word. Okay. So it is possible for people to be atheists and still have these contradictory views. The same way it is possible for people to believe in a God and still have those contradictory views. However, that is where the problem arises with religion. Religion corrupts the mind. So because we are atheists, we can rationalize that we can have both competing ideas, and there is no doctrine that is forcing us to hold both ideas. That is not the case in religion. In the earlier conversation, somebody made a statement about how these religious feminists try to do all these gymnastics to justify their belief. And this is a very common theme with religion, because the gymnastics is what corrupts. Gymnastics is what you have to do if what you have is not facts, right? If what you have is not a matter of fact, like oxygen and water, then you have to go to the gymnastics, and therefore even simple verses can be interpreted any way you want, because the people are already used to believing things from just a single word. They can construe anything from it. They've already built a muscle memory for it. And so taking it to another leap with any kind of idea, twisting it, making it suit your religious idea, is already in the framework of religion. And so it is sad to see people find themselves in those conundrums, but it is an example, or it's an example of, critical thinking and failing to actually do critical thinking. You end up, in all kinds of conundrums. That's why everything about Christianity and religion seems like contradictory. Everything about it, not only their feminist views, but even their slavery views, their views on, society and children, all of them is contradictory. It is just the movement of the whole religious apparatus. So, that's what I wanted to hammer on. So again, it is possible for somebody to be totally an atheist who does not have any belief in a God, and then also be a complete, I'm not a feminist, because he also wants to have his own, he wants to have power over something. It is still an innate desire of his, the same way, I don't want to be generalistic here. The same way women would like to feel beautiful, men would like to feel dominant. And so if there's a chance to make something lesser, some men just gravitate towards it because they feel it's natural. And in the same way, if a woman sees something as a chance for her to make it look beautiful, they gravitate towards it because they feel it's natural. Now, not to say it is natural, but it is these biases that we all hold that has nothing to do with belief in a God. It is just, which also adds to Moge's point, was it's just a fact or an indication that the religion was written out of human inadequacies. We wrote the religion. That is why you see all these flaws in it and the contradiction. That this is not a work of a God if there is a God. It is not. This is highly flawed. But, people believe it anyway. But that's all I have.
All right. Thank you very much, Kweku. Up next now is Cherry. Cherry, now your turn has come. Oh, yeah. Cherry, are you there? It's like Cherry has gone for a stroll. Now, there's a people that are here that have not spoken. Do you want to speak? Because we'll soon be rounding up if Cherry and Michael don't come.
I think there was a time when URCH was blinking. I'm not sure if she still wants to go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
Not fully. It's kind of muffled.
But not too well.
Not too well.
Okay, so hold on.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can everybody hear me?
It's much better.
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay, this is my first time being in a house or something like this.
Welcome.
So, I just got into the whole atheism and the feminist of late, because I come from a house that my mom is a pastor, like a conch pastor, and my dad is a lawyer, and he's from Anambra. So I grew up with misogyny, religion, and it has not been a good thing. So of late, I've just been trying to unlearn and learn new things. And thanks to the Ranting Atheist, your podcast has, oh God, it has been life-changing.
Wow. Thanks for
because that's been my listening, and it's funny, and I'm learning. But the one thing I will not do is read the Bible. Try to understand what you guys are always. I see you guys quoting the Bible. I would never do that. I can never do that. It's just so irritating because whoever wrote that Bible needs to be killed because they're just misogynistic and it's just scary in another whole way. So I don't really have much to say, just that, and I'm shy. So that's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution.
Okay.
All right. So everyone that is still listening now, this is the Free Thinkers Hangouts. Please follow the house, follow the speakers, follow people in the audience that you like. Let's follow ourselves. We do our best to have a room at least once a week. Hopefully, there will be more rooms per week, but we'll do our best, yeah. We'll do our best. So, I think anybody else want to speak? We are rounding up. Want to share the grace? Okay, Enore.
I just wanted to point out that Oyedepo was not the only one who said that. I saw another video. It was this, oh gosh, what's this woman's name? Mildred Okonkwo had her own take on that. So
I saw that too. Yeah.
This week, was it this week?
I saw it on Twitter this week. Yes. And she was going off on how feminism is crap and you have to be submissive. And of course, we know is always a proponent of kissing your husband's toes and ass and all of that. So there are several of them in that space that try to, I guess, mold women into these things that by nature they may or may not be. So it's definitely been an interesting week to listen to all this crap, and of course the cheering in the churches that go on with that.
Wow, that is.
Yeah, I just want to add that I think, as I said at the very beginning, I told Ranting that the reality of it is that this group or this room would be way more interesting if we had, our friends on the other side. So, to be honest, I feel like moving forward, as you are coming, you could pin your friends to come in.
Invite a friend to the church. Share tracts.
Yeah, exactly. So
I feel you
exactly because it gets more stimulated when you hear different sides to the story. So if you notice, all we are doing right now is just going through the same, like we're just saying the same thing. Sure, we are modifying it here and there, but it's pretty much just the same message. So I'd advise that the next time you could pin your friends to come in, and we would try, and at least the moderators will make sure that it remains as respectful. Janet, I see you blinking.
Yeah,
we'll
get speak next. Yeah.
So the moderators will make sure that everybody's really respectful. Yes, their views are crazy, and we were once there, right? Yes, their views are insane. We were once there, so we can't really blame them. They are pretty much just a product of indoctrination. So we would just, I think it would be encouraging, or it would be way more interesting if we had our friends from the other side in these rooms. So yeah, I think that's much of what I had to say. And back to Janet.
All right.
Yeah, hello. Good evening. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. Yes, so basically, about the Pastor Mildred, what she said feminism in marriage is rubbish, and because you choose your husband, because she said something about choosing your husband, and if you should choose rubbish, you should not choose rubbish, so you don't submit to rubbish. She said she believes feminism should not apply in family but in the workplace, or it should not apply in the society but it should not apply in the family but in the society. But then the family, individuals are made up of families are made up of societies. So why would you say there shouldn't be feminism in the family and there should be feminism in the society, when families are made up of societies are made up of families? And second, I really have an issue about the choosing, because basically what we're taught here is a man that approaches a woman to ask for her hand in marriage. So why is she? So I feel like she's trying to absorb men of bad, absorb those kind of men she was referring to, that she was saying that don't choose nonsense. She's trying to absorb them of their bad character and still putting it on the wife. Yeah. I'm still blaming it on the wife by saying you shouldn't choose nonsense. Why don't you tell these men to be better than asking women to avoid these men? More like victim blaming, sort of. And I feel like, well, personally, I'm a Christian, but then I won't deny the fact that there are some parts of the Bible I don't agree with, like the part of the Bible that says when a man rapes a lady, he will go and pay the lady's father 30 shekels and must marry the lady.
Property crime against her father.
You see the kind of thing. And
rape is a property crime against the girl's father.
Exactly. How they treat women as properties. And these Christians don't realize that the Bible era of that time is different from now. What used to apply in the Bible then cannot be applicable now, i.e. slavery. Slavery was like, there were rules guiding slave ownership and then. But now slavery has been abolished.
False.
And all. But when it comes to women's rights...
Hold on.
So when it comes to like women's rights, or when it comes to standing up for your rights or speaking out, that's why this is so like when you hear people, when people criticize pastors, they say, do not, that's Bible phrase about not touching, touch not. So I feel like so many, I won't call them Christians because religion is different from Christianity. Christianity is your personal relationship with God, while religion is following some set of rules made by men to control people, like rules made by a general overseer to I won't say guide, I won't say control, but to guide the members of his folk. So I feel like most of these religious people, when it comes to standing up for your rights, when it comes to speaking out against things, when it comes to speaking out against things that are wrong, they are always very defensive. And you notice that anytime we talk against this bad government, you realize that most of these popular GO feel like they are on the side of the government instead of on the side of the masses, if you get what I'm saying. So I feel like many of these religious people, they just like using this, especially in Nigeria. Nigeria is such a system whereby oppression abounds. Like there's sort of an imbalance where there's very few people are at the top and the masses are below, and the few people at the top are doing everything they can to keep oppressing and keep controlling those people down, if you guys get what I'm saying. Yeah. So I feel like people use the Bible to misinterpret and interpret and do things to keep people in control. Like in the case of tithe now, I go to a church that they don't say that they don't blackmail you into paying tithes. They don't tell you every Sunday that if you don't pay tithe, you go to hell, or if you don't pay tithe, you'll be rich. Just do it. If you want to sow seed, they won't come and meet you and force you to sow seed. You should just do it on your own, because okay, I know some of you are atheists, but we Christians believe that you sow seed to receive from God. I don't believe in such. I cannot go to a kind of church that is always blackmailing you into dropping your money. But most of these pastors do this thing to like make this to like keep these people under their whims. You get that kind of thing. Giving should be something that comes from your mind, that is inspired from God, not something because your pastor is telling you must do it, or something that fear has been put into you by your pastor to do, and you feel like you're under an obligation to give because your pastor said if you don't give, you go to hell. You get that kind of thing. So I feel like so many religious people are very gullible. They don't try to build their relationship with God, but they try to put their pastor's words over what Jesus says, the way people always cherish Paul's words more than what Jesus himself never even talked about that submission, but they're always referring to Paul. If you guys get what I'm saying, so that's what I have to say.
Nice one.
Yeah, you make a lot of valid points, but I would want to ask you, and you said you're a Christian, and even though you did say you're a Christian but you're not religious, that's discussion for another day. Right? That we could debate that we could debate that all we want, but that's discussion for another day. I would want to ask you, Janet, because you spoke on, people misinterpreting the Bible and whatnot, which is true. I would not deny that fact. There are folks that take the Bible out of context, but there are folks that also read the Bible literally and say what it says. And so I would just want to ask you, do you, because the lady, the pastor lady that spoke about, wives having to not bring, that they shouldn't bring feminism to their homes, which you eloquently stated. That was your starting point. Do you think that Paul and his teachings and, the way he structured his words was such that the woman, and more specifically wives at home, are being placed as placed at the background, placed under the feet of men? Do you think it will not be a misinterpretation to label Paul's message that way? That's my question to you, Janet.
Sorry, I feel like Paul was clear when he said that, because it was also the same Paul that said women should not speak in public. And if you can see the irony about this female pastor going on the altar with her hair uncovered and saying women should obey. She said women should obey God's word. And also that God's Bible said women shouldn't speak in public, and she's speaking in public on the altar. So you get why I said people try to use God's and again about the Paul issue.
No. Was it public? Paul said, or church?
Church. Yes, in church. Maybe in church. He said, it was actually in gatherings in church. Yeah. Sorry, in church rather. And she's on the pulpit preaching. You get that kind of thing. And also, I think Paul was clear because basically he was talking in accordance to the era of that time. They were in a very patriarchal time in the Bible times. They were in a very patriarchal culture where women were seen as properties or chattels that should be owned. So it was basically just talking based on what was happening there. And that's why I said the kind of era that was in the Bible times can't be applicable to the era that is in this time.
Okay, I see what you are saying, and that to me makes a lot of sense. But what I would ask you is that, in Paul's message, how are you able to know that point he was making was specifically for his time? Because Paul said a lot of things, right? And he spoke a lot from Romans to Corinthians to Colossians, Thessalonians. My question to you is, if at no point, because all the time he spoke about women, he would say, don't do this, or don't speak, because, if one of your first people, which is Eve, spoke, and this is the result, we are all stuck here. She messed up. She was deceived. Like, he gave his reason. His reason was not, because, these are time, women are no. What he said was, the first of your kind was deceived. She was not as intelligent as we are. And that is why we are in this mess. So I'm wondering how you are able to know that he placed a time factor on that, when all he spoke about was he gave the rule and gave the reason. So if you are able to give time on that, do we also speak on different messages on what Paul said? Like, okay, so let's say Paul speaks on salvation or grace. Will you say that grace is only applicable to that time, when Paul himself made no mention of, time to that regard? So I'm wondering how you are able to know that what he was speaking for at that time was particular to that time. That's all I want to know. Like, have you read something outside the Bible, the history books that are pointing you to what Paul is saying in the Bible that is informing you that it was time bound? Like, that's my question to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like someone said earlier, she said the Bible was written by men. And these men had the same kind of thinking and mentality in the Bible era at the same time. And another thing, I even wanted to say something that I forgot. Yes, I think I think that whatever Paul said just came from his mentality, from his sexist point of view of how he viewed women, the same way other men in the Bible viewed women. So I feel like I still believe that yes, whatever he said was according to that Bible, and apart from that, and even about the Adam and Eve, bringing the problems in this world. See, I feel like every adult should be responsible for their actions. God told Adam they shouldn't eat the fruits. Okay, yes, Eve was wrong by eating the fruit, but she offered Adam the fruit. Why did Adam reject it? So why is Paul now making it look as if it was Eve's fault? Why is Paul not holding Adam and Eve individually responsible, but making it feel like it because Eve offered Adam a fruit that he should have refused, then Eve was the cause, instead of holding both of them individually responsible, if you get me. So like I said, I think it's all about Paul's mentality and the Bible era of that time for him to have made such kind of decisions. So that's what I have to say.
All right, thank you, Janet. Cherry, you want to add something?
I was waiting for my turn.
Okay, you are okay. Wait, hold on. I don't know. I have a question for Janet. One last question. I think let's not bombard her too much. How do I put it now? I respect her for coming up to this gathering of heathens. So yeah, she's quite courageous than most Christians out there. The challenge with this whole Paul matter is, personally, Janet, do you throw every word of Paul away? Because Paul also speaks, wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against this, that, pray without ceasing, faith is the evidence of this, that. Do you throw all those words away?
What I would say about throwing words away, something about Christians is that they cherry pick what they want from the Bible. For example, the Bible says men should love their wives, and women and wives should submit. But misogynist men among the Christians, among the religious people, they don't emphasize on the loving of men, but on the submission of loving by men, but on the submission of women to men. So basically, I personally believe that as an adult, with their own mentality, with their own ideology, with their own idea of what is good or bad, you are allowed to pick what you want in the Bible and follow it. And that's why I said there is a difference between Christianity and religion. Christianity is a personal relationship with God. Religion is a set of rules and laws made by men. And that is the Bible. You will see Bible has a lot of rules, a lot of laws made by men. There are so many laws that are repugnant to natural justice, to equity and fairness. And you're allowed to speak against it if you think it is wrong and if you think your conscience cannot take it. There's nothing wrong as an adult to do that. But what I don't accept is you being blind to what you know is wrong. But you still try to elevate it and you still try to indoctrinate it into your members. So that's what I have to say about that.
All right. Thank you very much. I have more follow-up questions, but we'll sleep here. So, but please follow the house, Free Thinkers Hangout, so that you can visit us from time to time as you have the chance. So, Cherry, hit us and let's close it.
Okay, thank you one more time for giving me this opportunity to speak. Before I hit the topic, I think Ranting, you said something that it kind of triggered me.
Okay.
You said, I think after my submission to Mazi, and you said something about, come on, there's a bunch of...
we can't hear you. Well, I can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Sure.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we heard you laughed at the trigger part. I think after the trigger part, we're not hearing you clearly.
Okay, let me continue. So you said something like this is a bunch of a room with a bunch of men. What are we talking about? Feminist and feminism for? I think you made you belittle the movement of equality, which is wrong. It's just like me saying for crying out loud, this is a room of black people. Why are we talking about atheism?
Okay. What I mean is like women have how do I put it now? Maybe
I don't think
I didn't mean it that way. Women are the ones who are to teach us. That's where I put it. That's where you get. It's not. I didn't mean like I didn't condescend guy. No, women
I don't think
are the ones to. We need to get their insights more because they are the ones facing the problem of patriarchy. You get.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't think he meant it that way.
Because I was like thinking like it would be very wrong for me to like come up here and say for crying out loud we are all blacks. Why are we talking about atheism? Like
no.
Is any of our fathers atheist or something like that?
Okay.
You know? Yeah. So okay, back to the topic. Oyedepo and feminism. First of all, I don't know what I really didn't read the article about what Oyedepo said. But one thing I know is just that I have a line. It's very thick. I cannot take advice about, let's say, vaccine from pastors. I can't take advice about feminism from pastors. I can't take advice about finances from pastors. They are pastors, they are clerics, and their work is about the Bible and all that. So, because one thing I've noticed is just that if men of God are to, just like what I think Janet helped me a little bit to buttress my point, is just that most Nigerian clergy, they cherry pick things. Even that part of the Bible that said women should submit to their husband, that same chapter, another verse said something about submit yourself one to another. Anytime we talk about feminism and the Bible, we always talk about Paul. Nobody talks about the incident about with Jesus and the woman that was caught in adultery. And to me, I think Jesus was making a very bold statement when he asked them, if any one of you is without sin, because come to think about it, it's a patriarchal word then, very patriarchal, like to a man and a woman caught in adultery, and the man will just go free. Just like me now, maybe they caught me in adultery with another woman, and instead of punishing us both, they will say, okay, man, as far you're the one with the penis, you can go. Then she that is the prostitute, stay back and we are going to stone you to death. He made a statement when he asked them, and he made a statement when he defended that woman. He made a statement when he advocated for that woman. He made multiple statements when he even appeared to a woman first. So if we decide to like ignore those parts of the Bible and want to talk about Paul, and I think somebody was asking about if those letters Paul asked, they were era-based, and not just era-based, they were location-based. Because there were some locations I think they always go by the culture of that people. There were locations where you would say, women cover your hair, blah, blah, blah. And there were locations where we talk about women in another manner. And it was based on the experiences and reports. If you read the Bible very well, you hear things like, I write to you. I'm not writing to the world, though. I write to you, the brethren in Galatian. Based on reports I've heard. I write to you, the brethren in Nigeria, based on report I've heard. Not, I'm writing to the whole world. I didn't die for the whole world. It wasn't the one that is not the Jesus Christ. So the center of Christianity, which is Jesus Christ, he left a very bold statement. And I think if we are going to have conversations like this, we should be talking about the bold statement Jesus made when he said to Mary and Martha that, when he said to Mary, why not listen? Although women will want to like Because I think then in the patriarchal world, when visitors come like this, they'll be the one to run around and all that. Sit down. This is the one that matters. You matter. Mary, you matter. So these words, they are for you. So why are you running around? You have equal right, like every other man here that are going to listen. Sit down there and listen. Leave the food parts, leave all those parts. If they are as important as you think, I think all the men and women should have done that before I came. So all those things that Jesus did, I think they were not just mere coincidences. I think he was making a statement. And once again, pastors will always cherry pick things about I think about women in the Bible. They always cherry pick. They always pick a verse. They always twist it. But also keep in mind that these are the actions that Jesus took. So we should all bear that in mind. My name is Cherry and I yield the floor now.
Thank you, Cherry. Thank you very much. Okay, Muge, you speak, but I just want to say something. You say it was written for a time, for a people. Based on that, we should not be discussing any words of Paul. In fact, we should not discussing anything. We should throw away the Bible in totality. It's for that time. It's not our business in 2021. You get, so it's kind of the conclusions many atheists here has reached that. This book is not for us. It is for Bronze Age people. Now, does being this thing is supposed to wear. So, working with what you just said, it is for that time, for that era. Then if we talk about Jesus, we'll sleep here because that woman, that story can be interpreted in many ways. So you see the problem of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit not telling everybody the same thing. The Holy Spirit seems to be higher than us with alcohol. But anyway, enough of the Holy Spirit slander. Moge, please go.
So I wanted to come back to what I can't really tell who talked, but basically this about Jesus making both statements.
Okay.
I don't think Jesus making both statements, especially I'm not going to I know very very well that his statements, especially at that time, were quite bold, but him making bold statements does not make him a feminist. Him being a nice guy does not make him a feminist. There are nice guys out there who treat women like with some kind of certain type of respect, but that doesn't mean they view women equally, which is what feminism is. So yes, Paul was sexist, but that doesn't mean Jesus wasn't sexist because he was a nice guy. Like, Jesus was a nice guy, period, but that doesn't mean it wasn't sexist. And him, like that example you gave about the prostitutes and stuff like that. Yes, nice story. Yes, bold statement, but was a feminist? No, Jesus wasn't a feminist. And I'm actually sick and tired of people trying to force feminism on Jesus. That obviously wasn't.
Yeah, his disciples should already tell you he wasn't a feminist, but story for another day. Do you want to say anything? We want to wrap up now. I want to shut it down. Are you there? Okay, bless you.
Give me 5 minutes. I'll be back.
We may get 5 minutes, so we don't.
Concluding.
We are concluding.
Okay.
Voice call.
So I'll just say this. I don't know who said Jesus Christ was a feminist, but let's not say that again. Jesus Christ was anything but a feminist. He was a homophobe because Jesus Christ himself said that he's a Jew and he didn't come to change any law. So why are we trying to interpret Jesus in a different way when he's actually saying it himself that he didn't come to change anything? So if we know how the laws were at the time, why are we trying to change it differently? And also with I understand people saying what Paul was saying was as of his time and all of that stuff. It makes sense, right? But once you add the God factor into it, you lose your argument, because God himself is supposed to know that 2,000 years from now, what Paul is saying is not going to make sense, because everything in the Bible was written out of the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. And we know the Holy Spirit is God. So that is God giving Paul directive. So if it was Paul just making a commentary on his own without the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, I would get it. No? But with him adding the God factor to it, you lose the argument right there. But anyways, and I just want to say one thing. I'm surprised that Oyedepo is not in prison with all he has done so far. I don't know whether you guys have seen that video where he slapped the girl. Huh?
You said you're surprised he's not what? I didn't get that part.
Oh, that he's not in prison yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Haven't you seen the video where he assaulted a girl he was doing deliverance from?
Many and
I've actually not seen that too.
Yeah. So someone that has done things like that and still working scot-free, like, what do you expect him to say? He's going to say what he said. It's expected of him to say. And I also say that he's right, though. In the Christian context, everything he said is absolutely correct. And that's why I said, it's not in my place to tell a woman how to be a feminist, and it's not in my place to say you can't be a feminist and be a Christian at the same time. But it's also okay to acknowledge the ideological differences, But however they choose to make it work, it works, and it's not in our place to say that it can't work. But I think it's okay and it's safe to acknowledge that, there is severe ideological differences between both, ideologies. And also, it's safe to ask, when you are in a situation when, for example, let's say you have a friend that wants to have an abortion, right? And we know where Christianity stands on it, and we know where feminism stands on it. Which advice are you likely going to give your friend? Are you going to put your pro-choice ideology from the feminist movement ahead the pro-life angle of Christianity, or are you going to take Christianity over feminism? So the only thing I always ask is, what metric do you use to make that decision when you are in a situation, where those two ideologies are at loggerhead? How do you make that decision? What metric do you use to decide which ideology comes first and which one takes the back seat? But regardless, some people make it work. We have gay Christians, gay Muslims, and they make it work. And I don't know. It's not in my place to say anything. But for me, if I see any Christian, you're homophobe, you're transphobe till you've proved otherwise. And my name is Enyuwa, and I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. That was a fantastic end to our discussion. So please follow the house rather, Free Thinkers Hangout. Follow all the speakers, all the moderators, all the everything we discuss here has been recorded. Is going to be put on the Ranting Atheist podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast. Let me advertise myself small. So please listen to it at your own time, at your own convenience. Every week, Saturday, 12 p.m. New episodes every week. We'll do our best to do that. So
and invite your religious friends.
Invite your religious friends. The way they invite us to church, we to invite our religious friends here.
I'm actually curious to know if anybody knows a religious friend that will be open to an atheist debate, because I don't. Like, all my friends are nope. That's
never know. Never know.
I'll be curious to see that as well. So
it's most likely someone who is versed in apologetics that will be confident enough. So
yeah, which we know Nigerians are not.
Small. Apologetics will come up by the time
those guys are the gymnasts.
Professionals. God. High level gymnast. So we are done. Everybody can waka, can follow who you like, follow the house. Thank you very much for coming today, and see you another time. So we are ending the room in 5, 4, 3, 2. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe if you haven't. Apple, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. Then join us on the Free Thinkers Hangouts on Clubhouse, where we have discussions like this recording we listen to. And so that's all for this week, and catch you on the next one. Take care.